Paul, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Good to see you. What have you been up to since we last met?
Trying to grow a beard, but not doing as well as you. I can't remember when I last saw you. Where was it at Cellar Door?
We met. I wasn't going to mention it, but we did meet in the toilet.
The one that Oscar Wilde used
I like to bring the
frequent.
ice.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We
That's
do.
right. Which is now. Is it still going? I haven't been there
It's
for.
still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. It's brilliant. And Paul's involved still.
Yes,
Hello,
Paul
Paul.
and Gordon. Hello,
Excellent.
Paul and Gordon from Cellar Door. Yeah,
Incredible.
they are still running it.
Are you still performing then?
No, I haven't performed there for probably about 5 or 6 years.
Mhm.
I think now.
Mm.
Yeah.
That was a good gig though. It was nice.
It was really interesting because I used to sing usually on Friday nights there, so it was quite a busy night.
Yep.
A small place, obviously used to be
Yep.
a toilet.
Yep.
And you're very very close to the audience, and it gets rowdy on a Friday night, and
Yep.
so you've got to choose crowd pleasing songs.
Yes.
And really, this is my new ballad. You don't really get to do that.
Yeah.
And it was a great stomping ground, actually. I learned a tremendous amount, but it also nearly killed me and my voice. I
Yeah.
have to say,
Okay,
it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Right.
And I found myself sort of disappearing after 10 months of doing that every Friday.
Oh really?
Yeah, and retreating from performing for. I mean, that's not the entire reason why I retreated
Sure.
from performing, but
Yeah.
it certainly was a factor, just because it was enormously full on, and
Yes.
you're having to stand on the table to get people's attention. And
Yes.
it was one of the first times I really realised how the job is to be a facilitator for other people's. Often the job is to be a facilitator for other people's fun and other people's night out, and it's not about you.
No.
Unless you are some enormous star,
Yes.
like Barbara Streisand or something
Yes.
like that, it's seldom about you.
Yes.
And that's a big learning for a
Yes.
performer.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm still learning myself. It's that's really ego.
I don't say I am pleased about this. I'm not necessarily pleased about this.
That's it. So, have you tailored? I'm going off piece now. I've got a whole list of questions.
And it's gone, right?
Let's try
That's
and
it.
forget
It's
that.
gone out
Yeah.
the window. Fine.
Exactly. So, do you tailor your act? Do you tailor your mood or approach to the venue and to the audience?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exactly what cabaret is good for,
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
I was talking to some TV people the other day, and I was telling them about my friend Kirsty. And Kirsty, if Kirsty sees this, I tell people this story all the time, and I'm not going to say her surname for reasons which will become clear. When I met Kirsty, she had been in The Lion King next to Cellar Door
Yep.
for 9
It was
years.
so close.
Yeah, so close to the big stage.
Yeah.
She'd been in The Lion King for 9 years, and she'd done the same part for 9 years,
Yep.
8 shows a week. And she was a flatmate of a friend of mine, and I met her at her home, and she was always stoned whenever I went round there. And I was like, how does she go to work when she's always stoned? And then I found out how long she'd been doing the job for, and I thought, God, you'd have to be stoned, wouldn't you, to do the same thing
Yep.
every
Yep.
night for 9 years. And the thing about cabaret, which I love, is it does afford you to pick up the script and throw it in the air. So if something's happened in the news that morning, or something's happened to you that week, or something's happening in the room that very moment,
Yeah.
you can turn to your pianist and go, let's do a different number, or talk about something
Or
else.
there's a siren.
Oh yeah. You see, when we were little kids and we went to like dance or drama club and we did a recital, if a siren had gone off, our teacher would say to us, and if something like that happens, just keep going.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
That's it,
If like the hat or the cane fall on the floor, just
Yeah.
ignore it. Keep going.
Yeah.
Completely the opposite with cabaret.
Right.
You deal with it.
Right.
You deal with
Yeah.
the drop of the tray of glasses that's dropped,
Yeah.
or the phone going off, or
Yeah.
the heckle, or whatever
Right,
it is.
right.
And
That's
that's what
really-
I love about it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're using the environment, using the stage, using props, or you're
They're
using
gifts, you
They-
see.
right,
Most people think that they are their problems, and that people are scared of them,
Yes.
and they think it's like a game of dodgeball, and the job is to sort of carry on regardless.
Yep.
But it is to carry on regardless, but it's not to dodge them.
Yes.
It's to go straight at them and go.
Yes.
And if someone
Yes.
answers their phone, you go up to them and you
Yeah.
take them and go,
Yeah.
hello, did you know you're on stage right now? You know.
Fantastic. I used to have I run a big band for 4 or 5 years.
This is the advert, people.
It's all about me, actually.
What's it called, the big band?
Jimmy Cannon Big Band.
And the website?
JimmyCannon.com. I'm not doing the big band. Years ago. So we used to do the Balls Head in Barnes, and I had my phone rang. I left my phone on, which is
on stage.
On stage, which is 18 people in the band, 7 people in the audience. And I said hello. I thought it'd be funny, we stopped the number. Hello, who is this? And they said jazz. I said, sorry, yeah, it's jazz. And I said, well, absolutely, you're absolutely right. It is. We're playing jazz. And it just happened to be a daughter of a friend of mine. It's called Jazz. And she was looking for a dad, Jazz phone.
We want our genre back.
That's it.
We're going to ask you to stop.
Yeah, if you don't mind, please. We are the Jazz Police. It's just not swinging.
My friend was in this play once at the Broccoli Jack, and he was to be on stage. He was to die in this scene, and then lie there for like the rest of the play for like half an hour. And he'd forgotten the prop that was his bag. So we borrowed my friend Gavin's bag. My friend Gavin was also in the play, and he was like, "Yeah, take my bag." So he goes on stage, he does his scene, he dies, he's lying on the floor, and Gavin's phone is in the bag.
No, in the play. I'm just thinking my phone. And I put it on there. That's all right. That's hilarious. But I suppose this comes to one main question that So as you know, I've been working with people to help find their confidence in delivering their message. This is my tagline.
Delivering their message.
Delivering their message with more confidence. So there's people that are for speaking.
Yeah.
So you know me as a singer, but
yeah.
I've been working with people to find if a lot of people have to all the time have to give speeches in meetings, presentations, pitches, etc. So most people are worried about things that are not going to happen. Actually, for you, we were saying with Cabaret, it's sort of the opposite in a way. Yeah. You want, as you said, these things are a gift. And I suppose if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, as now that there's no script, that actually, if you were to if someone who needed to give a speech at a conference or etc. They were worried about these things happening, like the mic falling off or, their trousers falling. Obviously, there's ridiculous things that would happen that wouldn't happen. But would you suggest a way of a coping mechanism to get around these worries, these concerns, would be actually, what's the worst going to happen? What's the worst going to happen? If something really, really bad happens, obviously you have to stop it. But there are things that can attribute to the the variety and the diversity of the speech can make it really interesting and humorous as well.
So I think that the most important thing is to acknowledge where you are and what's going on.
Yes.
The here and now of the situation.
Yep.
So let's say, for example, that you're at a presentation and somebody else has just spoken, or it's been a whole morning of speakers. You could spend the time up until when you're on outside, pacing up and down, getting nervous, practicing your speech. I would suggest that being in the room, understanding the vibe of what's going on, whether people before you have been witty, what those people have said, what the message seems to be, the overall message of the morning seems to be, how people's mood is in the audience, or whether it's just really bad wallpaper that they're all having to deal with that morning. Whatever it is, there's something has gone on. Yeah. And put it into your presentation. Refer to something that somebody else has said. Yes. Refer to the fact that this is the ugliest boardroom that we've ever done a presentation in, or that the coffee's terrible. And there's something that everyone in the room can, because our job is to be an alchemist, I think. My job is to. And if I can create an alchemy between me and everybody else in the room, then we're on to something. And the first thing you have to do is to find a common ground. Yes. Yes. So sometimes on my phone, I've got this notes on my phone, and one of the list of notes is jokes and joke ideas. Right. And sometimes at events, whilst another act is on stage, I scroll through and I panic, desperately trying to find what would be the right thing to say next. Whenever I'm doing that, instead of absorbing what's happening right now on stage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I do the latter, if I absorb what's happening on stage, there will always be something to say.
It's a risk, though, isn't it? But
yes.
but that's part of it.
Yes, it is a risk.
Yeah.
But the payoff for being that brave is always better than this is what I know works because I did it last time, or I did it last year, or I did it last month, or it works with this sort of audience. Don't do your audience a disservice of thinking that they're any kind of audience.
Yes.
You don't know these people, and you don't know their lives, and you don't know what's happened to them this morning. Don't think you do, even if you've been doing this for 30 years like I have. You know, get in the room.
What excites you about doing what you do? You're
very little.
What do you know? I mean, okay. Do you have to? Would you say? I mean, you talk about when you're teaching and your shows, etc. You talk about putting a you talk about the fourth wall, and you talk about your persona.
Yeah.
You talk about, I think you use another phrase actually. I can't remember what that's called, but
the golden thread.
Yes.
Yeah.
The golden thread. So tell us about the golden thread.
Well, the golden thread is
connection.
It's what's linking me and you
to
each other right now.
Right.
And what that is, as you know, is everything that's happening between this man and this man. Everything right now.
Yes.
Facial expressions, whether we're looking at each other, the way you're sitting, the way I'm sitting, how long we've known each other, how long it's been since we saw each other last, you know, whether I find you attractive or not, our differences
Do you
in
find me
age.
attractive?
Yes, I always have.
Good answer.
Yeah. So the golden
Vice
thread
versa, by the way.
the golden thread is everything.
Yes.
Basically, but trying to unpick it and acknowledge the importance of it and to keep it
taught.
Yes, to keep it taught and to keep it and to not let it snap.
No.
So there's this place between this flabby bit of string and this broken because it's got so intense and so that's what you're trying. That's what we're trying to.
It's
find.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you deal with negativity? How do you deal with negativity on stage and off stage? I mean, how do you deal with negativity? So it could be, somebody drunk in the audience, someone heckling, and it's quite common. There's sort of there's videos now of people. I've noticed that comedians they put a lot of videos of being heckled and how they deal with it, and that seems to be their main kind of promo to their whole act. Yeah. You don't do that, do you? But you don't focus on that particular.
No, but when I started running training courses, and I asked when I started running Beyond Compare, which is about comparing, but it's also weirdly and completely coincidentally, businessmen, vicars, board people who have to make speeches in front of boardrooms, are turning up.
Yes.
Not because they want to turn into a host or a compare, but because they want to know how to speak with more confidence or authority.
Fascinating.
So that's why it's called Beyond Compare.
Yes.
What everybody wanted to know was how to deal with heckling.
Wow.
Yeah, because I wrote to everyone in advance on the first one I ran and said, I don't know what I'm doing, making this up, so please tell me what you want to know.
Yeah.
Because the imposter syndrome is massive right now.
Yeah,
and they said, to a man, they all said, I want to know how to deal with heckles. And I was like, oh, Christ, I don't know how to answer that. After 30 years, I don't really know how to answer. So I found myself wandering around toy shops. I did. Just kept wandering into shops and picking up balls. And I honestly, I have no idea. I was just sort of pondering on how am I going to deal with this. And I kept buying all different sizes and colours and ones that lit up. And they all had different... what is it? When you throw a ball and it hits something, that would they have different impact.
Okay, yeah. Interesting.
And I just ended up sort of buying 30 balls and putting them in a bag and bringing them along and said, right, everybody pick a ball. And we all just started throwing them around and exploring the impact of this ball on that wall.
I love that. Yeah.
And then we swapped and we found we decided whether we liked our ball, and then I made
you throw them at each other at all?
No, we weren't allowed to throw them at each other, just wall and ceiling and stuff, and just to find the different tensions that they created.
Yeah.
I think heckling's got quite a bad reputation.
Yes.
I think people think it's a negative thing, and I think people think that heckling is someone trying to spoil your performance, spoil your night, or better you. That's what I believe most people think of when we hear the word heckling. But my contention is that 95% of heckles are love. They're love. There are a small amount of people who are trying to do all those things I just said, ruin the night,
Sure.
or be cleverer than. I think the other people have just got rather overexcited. Like, if you're like you've got kids, so you've been at children's parties with lots of sugar involved.
Yes, of course.
It's like, you can't give a bunch of people lots of sugar and then be surprised when they want to run around like maniacs and make a noise.
Yes.
And that's what audiences are like.
Yes.
They're like a group of little kids at a 5-year-old's party. Yeah. So along with the jelly and the sweets and the Fanta come a few glasses being smashed and, rubbish and mess and screaming and shouting.
Yeah.
So I kind of think of heckling as like a good thing. If they're that invested, you must. If they're not outside having a fag, then you're doing something right.
They want to be involved.
You've got them so excited. When there is no fourth wall, you've got them so excited that they want to say something out loud. You've got to be doing something right. Now your job is to then hit it back. Yeah, then you become Andy Murray, and the analogy changes. I'm sorry, there's so many analogies.
I love it.
Yeah, and then you keep playing until you've won the point.
Theme's the same. Yes.
And that's what stand-ups are great at.
Yes.
And of course, they want to show all over YouTube that they're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, and why not? It is a skill, and not everyone can do it.
And it's rare that you're going to get that one person that completely ruins the evening. It's normally somebody just has a few comments. They want to be loved. They want to give love.
A bit of attention.
Like kids.
Yeah.
I've been lucky, and because mainly I'm a jazz singer, and my audience is mainly very serious and.
Dead.
Half of them, or dying, yes. Exactly.
Jazzers really take music seriously and jazz seriously, don't they?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. There's a lot of people that go along with recorders. They go along and record the gig, and they don't watch the gig. They just sit there reading a book with.
Do they ask permission?
No.
How do you feel about that?
I think the reality is that they're just going to go home and to listen to it, in private. Because they're at a certain time of their life. They're not going to, I mean, crikey, if I could, get something from, if they were to be able to sell thousands of records, then...
So we could monetize this situation.
Well, it's not going to happen. This is the thing,
But we have changed, you and I are both old enough to have seen the sea change between... Sorry, I'm now interviewing you.
No.
The sea change between...
I knew this would happen.
When we both started performing,
people
didn't have smartphones. They didn't exist. And asking if you could take someone's photo or bring a recording along to a gig was a completely different situation to what it is now.
People are boldly just filming you, aren't they? Just I can imagine. With your shows, I would imagine there's, because you do a lot of gigs in the centre of London. Yeah. There's lots of tourists, and it's a novelty.
Sometimes you do an entire gig. It's one place they do in Knightsbridge, and the gig is about an hour and a half long. Me and some burlesque dancers. So I'm on stage quite a lot. It's sort of me heavy for everyone's delight. And it's a really small little basement. There's maybe 60 people. Sometimes the entire room will just have their phone up in front of their face.
How do you feel?
Talk about no fourth fucking wall. I mean, I've just spent the evening breaking it down, and you've put one.
Yeah,
up.
That's right. It's a fifth wall.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I hate it. Is how I feel about it.
Right, fine.
I hate it because it's not the experience.
And what about people? I've decided personally not to do, or try not to do any, and I'm still open for gigs, obviously. Try not to do. Two things I'm trying not to do is one.